When you look back at your career and you look like the world-class players, like who stands out and can you see why they are the top of the tree?
Yeah, but like the two players I always say that stand out are probably Paul Scholes and Cristiano Ronaldo, right? Because they're both like technically talented, just incredible. But Scholes was just phenomenal, technically phenomenal, right? But as a character, he was so sort of like quiet about it as well, just like this real humbleness where he didn't really care about being a footballer. He hated the limelight. He just came in, played football, and quite honestly went home. One of the first ones to leave. He'd do all his gym work in the morning, but he just wanted to go home and that'll do. Then you've got Cristiano Ronaldo, probably one of the best football players ever to have lived, who was the first one in the morning, did all the extra bits and bobs, learned everything about how he could be better and stronger and faster, and then he did the training. He was the last one on the training pitch to leave. And then afterwards he would go and do all his cool down and rehab, extra gym work, extra core work, yoga, all this, massages. And he's the opposite of Paul Scholes, absolute opposite. Was the pin-up boy, was doing all the magazine articles, all the TV interviews, and you just think there's no real kind of set way of doing it, is there? Do you know what I mean?
Were you surprised when Scholes ended up doing punditry? Because I always thought it was like, he's one of my favourite, I'm not a Man United fan, but I when people talk about best midfielder and it's always like Lampard or Gerrard, I'm always like Scholes, come on. Yeah. I always wonder if did you hear that story? I think I told it on a podcast one time, I can't remember, it might be in Keane's autobiography or something. There's a story on the training ground that Ronaldo was dicking about doing like something around the world. He was juggling, doing a bunch of tricks or whatever. And apparently Scholes, he started laughing at him and he said, I can you do that? He's like, no, but give me the ball. And he said, I'll hit that tree over there. It's like 40 yards away. So he bangs at this tree and hits it and then just laughed and got back in his car and walked off. I don't know if it's true, but that seems, I read it somewhere.
It wouldn't surprise me, honestly. He was frightening. Like all the lads just used to like watch in awe sometimes. Like we'd play like six-a-sides or whatever, or a possession game or something. And I'm just watching thinking, this is like, there's levels and then there's next level, top level. Do you know what I mean? It's just, I was surprised though when he started doing punditry and commentary. But I think it's any footballer, when they're in it, it's like, oh, you'll never see me after football. You hear so many say, you'll never see me after football. I'll be long gone. You never hear from me ever again. I'll take my money and I'll sail off into the sunset. But then you realise you're probably 35, 36. You've got another 35, 36 years of life left. Like, you got to do something. You have to do something. Yeah. You have to have a reason to get out of bed in the morning, a purpose. And it's probably kind of caught up with them going, no, actually, do you know what? Like, I know football. I know what I'm talking about. I can say what I see. And he's perfect fit for it.
Yeah. I was thinking... The interesting thing to me is how you allude to it there is how hard it is to leave, because like you seem, I don't know you intimately, but when you say you're in the dressing room every day, training every day, you're in the canteen every day, traveling with each other every day, how difficult is it once you have actually retired?
Yeah.
You wake up the day after you've retired and it dawns on you, you're not going to get that every week. Is that difficult to do?
Yeah, if I'm very fortunate that I've got something kind of in the pipeline already. I was already doing the YouTube channel, the podcast, football shows, bit of punditry, commentary, all that kind of stuff. So I had something to not fall back on, but to carry on with. Yeah. But I would worry for a lot of footballers that don't know what's next for them or haven't got any sort of plans in place, because we did a podcast yesterday and we were talking about it with a guy who's just retired actually, and he said the same thing, is you wake up on Monday morning after you've retired and you're so used to being told where to be at what time with what equipment you need, and that it's simple, it's all laid on for you. He says as soon as you've retired you have to do it all for yourself, you have to think of all of it for yourself. Like it sounds so nothing, right? But doctor's appointment, like I've had footballers go like, how do I get a doctor's appointment? And it's true though, they're not registered at their local doctors. They're not like the one down at the shops or something. They're not registered there. They have a club doctor that they've had forever. So any problem you have with a footballer, you call the doctor. We had 2 doctors at West Brom, for example, where we had a sports doctor, we had a family doctor. So anything I needed with like a flu bug or something like that, I'd go to the family doctor. Any sports related something, I'd go to the sports doctor. And it's always on hand. It's always at tap. I could ring him up any time of the day. I'll have them for you in the morning. It's all done for you. But as soon as you retire, it's like, what do I do then? You got to go, and then the chemist afterwards. You got to get prescription. What is this? It's mad.